But if you get an opportunity to shadow someone,
Yeah.
take it.
Find a mentor.
Find a mentor. Find someone to pour into you. Find someone that is willing to pull back the drape and say, okay, I'm going to let you in. It's pivotal.
Welcome to the Collective Mic, the podcast where women leaders get loud about what really matters. I'm your host, Joyce Tody, founder of Collective Women's Leadership. We are not here for fluff. We're here to lead, build, and rise together. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, building your own brand, or redefining leadership on your terms, this mic is for you. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the Collective Mic. Today we are with young, licensed, and leading Robbyn Woods on owning her own path and design here in Las Vegas and actually in other states as well. So welcome, Robbyn, to the Collective Mic.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
A lot of you know Robbyn Woods from many of our Collective Women's Leadership Reels. She is one of our mentors. She has been in interior design for many, many years. So we are going to get into it with Robbyn today. So I want to highlight a few things. You're a trailblazer in interior design. You received your NCIDQ license at 29, which is very young. And we're going to break down all the things interior design today and what that means. So today we're talking about building a dream career in design and doing it with confidence, creativity, and boldness. So Robbyn, what inspired you to go into interior design?
So it's actually really interesting. My family, when I was growing up, my dad was an entrepreneur. He owned a very successful wall covering installation company. And so I was around wall covering pretty much my whole life. And I always thought it was really beautiful, and it was always very inspiring. And we had a great family friend of ours that was an interior designer. He was an entrepreneur. He worked for himself, and he had kind of built this brand for himself and had kind of gone off on this path that I was like, oh, that could be like really cool. And having experienced what he had done for my parents in the homes that we lived in when I was growing up, it gave me a sense of kind of what an interior designer did. So I had kind of an insider's look at a very young age. And so fast forward, I'm growing up, and I was born and raised in Las Vegas, so the city that never sleeps, and hospitality and, really great design just all around us. And I was getting my degree to go out of high school, and I woke up one morning and I thought, I'm going to become a doctor. And I totally changed my entire trajectory, my entire upbringing, because I wanted to help people. And it wasn't until my mom sat me down and was like, Robbyn, you don't need to be a doctor to help people. You can help people with interior design. So that is really what set me on the course of finding UNLV, which is an accredited institution that you can get where you get your bachelor's in interior architecture. And I walked in, put in all of my stuff, and they were like, yeah, come to school here. So it was a really great experience, and I learned a lot in school. But I think, we're going to talk about this a little later of what they don't teach you.
That's right.
What school doesn't prepare you for. So
a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
What was your, sorry, scratch that. What was your, I'm really doing this moment?
So the moment where I was like, okay, this is actually happening, I was graduating college. I wasn't happy where I was. I was working for a company that was taking but not giving. And I knew that I had to make a change. And I went online and I applied for a job that I was not even qualified for. I was so out of my league. But they called me and they were like, hey, we got your resume. We can't really hire you for that position, but would you come in for an interview anyway? And I was like, I do not care. I will clean the toilets. I just want some FaceTime. Yeah, yes, absolutely. So I went in, I interviewed, and I ended up getting the position. It took so long to get the position, but I did end up getting the position, and it was with an amazing company that's here locally in Las Vegas, and I had an amazing career with that company. Actually, it's where I met Joyce, so I'm very grateful for the experience that I had there, and just learning so much more about the custom home side of luxury interior design, and really taking what I learned in school from a hospitality perspective and extrapolating that and creating these really magnificent homes for my clients. So that was kind of the moment where it was like, all right, I'm really doing this. Like, I'm going to send this resume in and just hope for the best. And I thank God every single day that I did that.
And it worked out.
It did. It worked out.
So real talk on the industry, because there are a lot of myths about your industry. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of Wild West things that happen on the internet. People think they're designers, these types of things. So let's start and focus on what is NCIDQ and why is it such a big deal?
The NCIDQ is the National Council for Interior Design Qualifications.
Okay.
And essentially, to put it in a very, very simplified way is, lawyers take the bar, we take the NCIDQ. So it is one of the highest qualifications that an interior designer can achieve. And if you want to be involved legally in commercial projects, hospitality projects, anything that it's involving the public sector, you really should have the qualifications because you're not operating within the rules. You have to be licensed to be able to do those types of projects. And there are some loopholes that people have found. I am not a huge supporter of that. I think it's really, really dangerous, especially when you're talking about places where people are going to be congregating. You have lots of people, like exit strategies, fire exits, things like that. We have to know all of that. And all of that has to play into not just the way it looks, but in case there's an emergency that everyone that's in that space you've designed can safely get out. And really, that's where it boils down to the importance of having these licensures. And beyond NCIDQ, here in Nevada, I'm also a registered interior designer with the Nevada State Board of Architecture.
And why is that a big deal?
That is a huge deal because, again, in the state of Nevada, to be a licensed interior designer, you must sit for the test.
Okay.
And it is it's not a very difficult test. The NCIDQ qualifies you to sit and just sit and take the test. There are some other avenues if you didn't attend. So to take the NCIDQ, you have to have attended an accredited school for 4 years. That's the easiest route. Then there's other ways.
And get your degree in anything?
No, you have to go to an accredited institution in interior architecture or interior design, because there are certain schools that are not accredited, which there are paths that you can take outside of that, but they make it more difficult. You have to have a lot more experience hands-on, which is great. You should have a lot of hands-on experience coming out of school, and we'll get into that a little bit later too as well. But I think the importance of making sure that you are licensed and basically just running things by the book. And, if you want to be a decorator and do furnishings and pillows and things, that's great. There are a lot of people that's their niche and they don't like to touch anything that's construction related. But as soon as you touch a light switch or try to put a sconce somewhere or start getting into that, anything that's MP&E, which is mechanical, electrical, plumbing, finishes, anything that's construction related, you really need to have the backing to support what you're saying and what you're doing. Some people will go under a general contractor to have them assume the liability, but that's a huge ask of a general contractor. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
So misconceptions about interior design. Oof. You and I have both mentored a few women who are coming out of school, and we walked them through, right? You and I both walked them through what interior design is and what it is not. You more so than I did. I just made the introduction. But one of my mentees thought that she wanted to be an interior designer. And you had a really great hour-long conversation with her, at which point she no longer wanted to be an interior designer. She is flourishing in real estate, by the way, right now.
Oh, I love that.
But what are the misconceptions And let's kind of make this fun in terms of what you do and what you do not do, or what some do that is not what an interior designer does.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that I'm like this pillow expert. Like, I get it so often. Like, when I meet someone for the first time, the traditional, oh, what do you do? We're networking, right? So what do you do? And I say, oh, I'm an interior designer. Oh, that's so fun. It's like,
I wish we could stop saying that. Right?
It is. It is
right,
fun.
Right,
and
right.
I'm very passionate about what I do. And there are days that are not fun. And it's good to have balance. But, when we start to think about what an interior designer really does, is from the moment I meet even just a potential client, I'm reading body language. I'm trying to figure this person out and I'm asking questions that are a little oddball, because I really want to get to know this person in enough time where they feel comfortable enough signing a contract with me to then move forward to start developing their space. And there's a lot of psychology that goes into what we do, because in a residential, so we have two divisions of our company. We have residential and we have commercial. Commercial projects are completely different than a residential project. Sitting down with a client and getting to know them and understanding not only what they want their home to look like, but how they want to function in their home. Right. What are their day-to-day tasks? Do you make coffee in your bedroom? Do you want to make coffee in your bedroom? Has anyone even offered you that? Have you ever experienced a steam shower? Do you want a car wash shower? Do you want heads and all these, water coming from the ceiling, or water coming, down low so it's hitting your legs? It's all of these things that in turn create these layers of the design. And it starts to enforce detail work and how we can incorporate lighting, how we can really emphasize a mood and a feeling for a person and in their space that really encapsulates who they are, while also, in this hand, balancing resale value. We're looking at building value into materials that are being used. So are we investing in a beautiful slab that's going to last 30 years? And when someone walks in 10 years from now goes, oh my gosh, did you just remodel? It's like, no, I have a really crazy good interior designer who built this beautiful, timeless design for me. And I think it's really important to understand that is so much further away from just pillows and accessories on a shelf.
Right.
It is truly a passion that you have to really help people live their best life in their space.
What young designers really need to know about entering the field? What do they need to know? What are the misconceptions at times you're speaking to younger undergrad, potential graduates in your field? What do young aspiring interior designers need to know?
Well, you have about 50% of your arsenal when you leave school.
Yeah, right.
50% is not enough for you to just jump. And I was one of those people. I thought, I'm going to graduate and I am going to just take over the world. I'm just going to take over.
Every undergrad thinks that.
Every single one. And I was one.
Right.
I was one of them.
Yes.
And
we want you to take over the world.
Absolutely.
It's just going to take time.
It just takes a little time because you can't run before you walk, and you can't walk before you crawl. And it's really important to embrace those steps because you're growing so much from the time you leave school and you're out in the world, like actually doing things. And I think what a lot of students don't do, and this is what I did, and it really helped prepare the conversation that I had with the home builder that I was working for. I had a depth of knowledge that no student had because I was physically putting myself in situations all throughout school. So I was going to school, learning something, and then going and learning from a designer and trying to implement it.
Sure.
And trying to figure out, okay, that worked, that didn't work. Oh, this is, and learning from people who are already running a business the way that I want to run a business. And learning from them and going, oh, never going to do that. Or, ooh, I like that. I'm going to take note of that. And I still have it. I have a booklet of all the little notes of things that I took away from projects that I had opportunities to work on while I was going through school as a reminder to say, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. But exposing yourself to multiple designers that do what you do the way you want to do it is so important. I'm not going to tell anybody to work for free. I don't think that anyone should take an unpaid internship. I do not think that anyone should do any kind of work for free. But if you get an opportunity to shadow someone, take it.
Find a mentor.
Find a mentor. Find someone to pour into you. Find someone that is willing to pull back the drape and say, okay, I'm going to let you in. And I can't say that every person's going to get compensated for that, but the value that you take away from it is so importantly, that's not even a word, but it's pivotal for your growth. And what I think it will help you do too, like I knew out the gate I did not want to be a hospitality designer. I didn't
What made you, but hold on, you went through schooling. I mean, we're in the hospitality capital of the world.
Yep.
So I'm sure there were a plethora of options and opportunities for you to go into hospitality. So maybe walk us through the difference between hospitality design and what you're in, which is your specialty in terms of residential, and for you, what made that difference?
So having gone to UNLV, the accredited institution, because of where we are, everything is hospitality based.
Sure.
So my entire career in school was based on becoming a hospitality designer. Every single professor I ever had said, you're never going to make it in residential.
Wow.
You will do nothing. You'll make nothing. You'll fail.
Wow.
Over and over and over
Why
again.
do you think they said that?
Because they'd never done it.
Oh, well, there's that in higher education at times, right?
And I think my confidence, them consistently telling me no, made that fire under me burn even more.
Did you have classes that were only specific to hospitality design? And
Everything.
and then all of the resources maybe through that were given to you happened to all be hospitality.
Correct.
And what is the main difference between those two?
So between residential and hospitality. So residential, so speaking very, very high level, residential, you don't have to have as much knowledge of fire escapes. You're not worried about the public.
Okay.
You're worried about a person.
Right.
There's limitations, obviously, of what you can and can't do. But when you're talking about residential to hospitality, the scale in most people's minds is small potatoes, big potatoes.
Okay.
In my mind, I wanted to take hospitality and take it to the luxury segment of residential interior design and implement hospitality-sized
Ideas.
visions and dreams into homes. So I think that's where, and during, when I was going through school, I did push back a lot. I said, I do not want to be in hospitality. Is there a way for me that I can do part of my projects from a residential perspective? And we did a couple residential projects during school, but majority of them were either LEED-based, which is an environmental group that, it's recycled materials, things
LEED,
like that.
LEED.
LEED, yes.
Correct.
And then, but it was such a small factor. So I always pushed my my professors and said, hey, is there a way that I can potentially do this a little bit differently? And basically what they came back with was, if you get everything that's on the syllabus into the project, we'll consider it. And it was really hard. It was very, very hard. But I learned a lot. And I think from them just telling me no, it was a way for me to just keep pushing forward and keep on that track, because they could have very easily derailed me. They could have very easily talked me out of it, and I'd probably be sitting in an office somewhere, doing a bar or, a casino floor.
Oh, sure.
Or,
right. Hospitality stuff.
I'd be doing hospitality things.
For hotels.
Hotels, which For some,
Is great.
that lights your fire.
Yeah.
Go for it, because there's a huge market for it.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the other misconceptions is that there's not enough work in interior design for everyone. There's plenty.
Yes.
There is so much room in this industry. But coming to the table with the right qualifications, I think, is the very first step.
Absolutely. Setting yourself apart.
Absolutely.
From not only your undergrad education piece, but then your continuing education with NCIDQ and the other things that you've done.
Correct.
So let's segue into aesthetics and inspiration. So let's talk about, let's pretend like we're doing a mood board segment that everyone can visualize. What is your color of 2025?
So I actually don't have one. And the reason I don't, I think it's Sherwin-Williams and Dunn-Edwards. They have like the color of the year. But it's always like a pink or a brown. It's always like a really
Gray.
high pigment color. And I love color. I think color it's very expressive. But most clients don't like color. They want something a little bit more neutral, a neutral palette that they can build on. You know, maybe we pop some art or something else is the color that can kind of be cycled through. But right now what I'm finding is that gray is gone.
Yeah, get out of the
We
gray.
are not doing gray
Anymore in 2025.
ever.
Ever again.
Like, I know things come back around, but I truly hope and pray that gray never comes back. Gray can feel so sterile. It feels like a hospital. Like, nobody wants to live in a hospital. So I would say anything in like the beige tones.
Earth
whites,
tones are back.
Earth tones are back, baby.
Yeah,
and
that's
we are
right.
bronzed. We are cute. And we want to be warm. We want to have a nice glow and a hug and feel like we're at home and warm and cuddly. And, you know, we want our interiors to feel comfortable. You know, no one wants to go into a home and feel like they can't touch anything, like it's a museum. You know, we don't want that. We want people to feel comfortable at home and feel, you know, and embrace their space.
What vibe are you loving right now in interior design?
Getting rid of white shaker cabinets and quartz countertops.
Oh, we're getting rid of all that.
We're getting rid of it.
And what are we
It's done.
replacing it with?
Warm tones, natural stone, like natural stone. Just, you know, a lot of people have a PTSD from the Ubatuba of the 2000s. That's that green granite or that builder grade granite that everybody had. There's so many more options. You just have to look. And the price point, yes, in a builder grade home, you know, you're going to have that entry level stone option and, you know, you might not like it and that's okay. And you might upgrade to a quartz and get that kind of marble look in the kitchen. But I would strongly advise anyone that's doing a remodel or doing anything to their homes, building a home, look at natural stone. Give it a chance. They're not all crazy expensive. There's so many different levels and so many different ways that you can incorporate it. And it allows you to have a lot more fun with your edge detailing. I've been to a few bars lately and just like edge profiles are changing and people are getting more expressive with the way they're using stone, and I'm so here for it. It's something different. It's not the same white and gray quartz that we've had the last feels like 10 years.
I think it has been 10 years.
It has, and it's like we gotta get rid of that, and stuff's not great for you either. So it's, you know, the earth as a canvas is spectacular, and even if it's not everybody's vibe, just asking your sales rep or asking your interior designer if you're hiring someone, hey, can we go to a slab yard? I just want to see what's out there. And yeah, they're going to show you the $60,000 marble, but they're also going to show you the $1,500 slabs of granite and quartz site that are spectacular and would make for an amazing showpiece in your home.
How does someone know that they need to hire an interior designer? And what if they feel intimidated that there are a lot of things that come with that? You're too expensive. They only have a certain amount of budget. What if their budget's so small? How do you work with all different budget types? And what are your recommendations for those who've always wanted an interior designer but feel too intimidated, thinking maybe they can never afford that?
So I think what's important to understand from that perspective is that I think everyone should consult an interior designer. If you're doing a remodel, if you're doing anything, to your home that you're changing, removing walls or, you're trying, I would have at least a consultation with someone. And it is going to cost you some money. But you're part of your investment in your home, it's included in that whole investment of the remodel. Mm-hmm. And it's important to view that way and not as an additional service.
Oh, okay.
It should be part of your overall budget. And, we do have clients that are on a smaller budget. And what we do up front is we just make sure that the expectation of what that budget does is met. So, if a client comes to me and says, I want to do my entire 8,000 square foot home remodeled for $60,000, unfortunately, we have to have a conversation that says, okay, I need to understand what we're doing in 8,000 square feet.
Sure.
And the scope of work that we put together really helps define how that budget gets allocated. And sometimes we do have to, we have to have the realization talk that says, hey, we're not able, my firm, we're not able to help you with that. Mm-hmm. If we change the scope of work slightly, we could potentially do these things. Are you open to maybe doing it in phases? We try to do everything that we can to work with our clients. And sometimes it doesn't work out. And that's okay. We might not be the right firm for every single person. But I would never not speak to someone based on their budget.
Of course.
Never.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's good to know, I think, for people
listening.
There
are designers that won't even talk to you. Mm. If you're under $100,000, they're just like, sorry, we're not for you.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot of different ways that people run their companies and do business. There's designers that do, one look.
But they don't necessarily need to call you if they're moving walls. They can call you if they need new area rugs. They want to redo they only need...
Absolutely. We do everything.
Only need a whole redesign of their living room, but there's no walls coming down.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And they can, we can do full turnkey design build from the ground up. We could do a powder room.
Yeah.
We could do a closet. It just depends on...
Yeah, even starting with a powder room, I think, is a great step.
Yep.
To get into interior design and really work with someone who is helping you also find what you love.
Exactly.
Because I feel as though we don't know until we're shown these types of things. So I think that's really great.
Yep.
Mentorship and growth. I think, as you know, you're a mentor at Collective Women's Leadership. You've been here since the beginning. As I talked about, a lot of people know you from your absolutely amazing reels. What do you wish you knew when you were starting out younger, right out of school, other than the fact that no one told you weren't going to know everything coming out of school?
So if I could go back and do things differently, I would still do I would do everything that I already did, but I would actually do it tenfold. I would do more of it. I did expose myself to 7 different designers. A lot of them were doing different things. Some of them were really high-end residential. Some of them owned a store. So I had retail experience of how to shop for a store if I ever wanted to do that. I wish I would have been a little bit more involved on construction and the physical application of the knowledge we learn in the books. I did get a lot of that, but I think I thought I had done enough. And when I got to the home builder that I worked for, I realized, I said, okay, I know a lot, but I also know very little. And what I ended up doing, thankfully, I had a platform there where everyone was so gracious and open book with me and just showed me everything. I was on job sites. I was peeking around corners with, all the trades and just learning all the lingo, learning how to communicate with these people. Because if they know they can come to you and say, Robbyn, how do you envision this detail?
Right.
And I can articulate back to them, whether it's a sketch, verbiage, however it ends up being, they're like, I know exactly what you want. And they want to work with you. Mm-hmm. They're going to refer you the same way your clients are going to refer you to their friends. So it allows you to network in a way that traditionally is not really a network, but these trades become attached to you because you know your stuff. You know what you want, you know how you want it to be, and all they have to do is just do it. There's no second guessing. So that would be my advice is any opportunity you can get, maybe paid, maybe not, but if you can just get yourself into a position where you can learn anything, take it and run.
What advice do you have for young professionals, emergent leaders coming out of school from these accredited universities and colleges that they absolutely want to go into interior design? What are your kind of top 3 best pieces of advice that you wish you had been given?
Well, actually, I was given this advice. When you go into an interview to work for someone else, I think it's so important for you to interview them as well. Because you're there to get a position, but you're also there to learn. And you're also there to take something away to build for yourself, whatever path you're on. And I think it's important to know up front, before you take a position, that firm is going to satisfy something on your list that needs to be checked. Because I worked for a lot of people just because the hustle, paying for school, paying for, books. And back then we had to print, no one prints anymore, but we had to print these massive boards and they were very expensive. So I was kind of out just like hustling, trying to, make ends meet and all of that. But I never really wrote down the list of all the things that I wanted to get from an employer or someone that I was working for. And I think it would be important to say, hey, I'm going to interview you, not literally say that, but have questions prepared.
You can actually literally say that.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Mentorship. See?
That's
it's happening.
That's right.
It's happening.
Right here. What's the second thing?
Important to understand if you want to work for a company or if you want to be an entrepreneur. There's 2 very different mindsets when you're coming out of school. If you are on an entrepreneurial path, school is not going to teach you how to run a business. They are not going to teach you the ins and outs of that. I would recommend any entrepreneur that's coming out that wants to work for themselves, do yourself a favor and enroll in some kind of business course. It can be online. It can be an associate's degree. It could be something very, very small. You could even do YouTube University. You can learn so much on the internet right now. But I would strongly recommend going through either some kind of course on business and understanding what you need to do to set that up, because it depends to where you live. Each state has different requirements for businesses.
Also for interior design, I assume.
Correct. So, in Nevada we have, registration with the State Board of Architecture. Some states don't. So there's, you just have to kind of understand what your authorities having jurisdiction require and go based on that. Specifically in California, the NCIDQ is not enough. You have to take a California state test as well, because they have all of their Title 24 requirements. So anyone listening from California, that's really important to understand Title 24 requirements.
And the third piece of advice?
This is going to sound kind of silly, but have fun. Like, there are going to be days that are serious and that you have to be just dialed. And that's, it's going to happen. But enjoy the process. Enjoy getting to know your clients. It doesn't have to be this stiff, experience for people. Have fun. Show your clients that the process is fun, because at the end of the day, you're building someone else's dream. Bring that excitement and bring that to the table, and people are going to hire you every single time.
So we'll do a quick fire round, super fun questions for Robbyn. What's your current design obsession? We talked about what you like in terms of trends, but what's your current design obsession?
The obsession is just a space that makes people feel extraordinary.
Your dream client?
Unlimited budget. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, unlimited budget. But a dream client is someone who's more focused on design and less focused on budget, being respectful of a budget is day one out the gate. We have to, we're always going to be respectful of a budget. But when you have a client that is really in tune with the design aesthetic and the details, we can make it meet the budget. But I love those conversations where they start to get really involved and they're like, yes, like I can see that, like I see it.
What's always in your design bag?
A tape measure and a pen.
Your go-to pump you up song before a big meeting?
Whatever It Takes by Imagine Dragons. Actually listened to it on the way here.
Oh, perfect. Favorite space you've ever designed?
Ooh, favorite space. The most rewarding space was the Vegas Modern Show Home that I designed with Blue Heron.
Oh, good for you.
That was such an incredible experience. I learned more on that project in 4 years than I think I've learned ever. And just the exposure, the amount of details per square inch in that house were just,
they're insane.
It was crazy. Yeah. So I've got to give credit where credit's due, but that was an incredible project. And I still to this day am so grateful for that.
Robbyn, it's been amazing having you here. Not only are you leading the industry of interior design here in Las Vegas, you were extremely young at 29 getting your NCIDQ, but also during that time, I think before you were 30, you became a partner in a firm. So why don't you tell us how to find you?
You can find us on Instagram, Diane Cabral Interiors, at Diane Cabral Interiors, and then we also are launching our commercial division of Diane Cabral Interiors, which is Studio D. And that's going to be at Studio D LV on Instagram. So we're really excited about that, and we hope you guys will follow along.
Thank you for being here. If you liked this episode, if you know anyone graduating with their undergrad in interior design, or you are one yourself, please listen, follow, and like. And you can always find Robbyn Woods through Collective Women's Leadership as well, and book any appointment you need to with her there. Thanks, everyone. I hope you loved this episode as much as I did. For more tips on elevating your leadership, please follow us on Instagram, Collective Women's Leadership, or visit our website, collectivewomensleadership.com. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.